What's up, fellow lords of gaming, and welcome back to another episode of Marvel Future Revolution. Today we take a deep dive look at Scarlet Witch, and what I want to start out with, just this video, so that way I can break these up into little components and kind of, not make the videos too long, is Scarlet's potential. I think that's going to be something that's immediately accessible to all of the players across the board. So I want to take a look at this because I think it's kind of core to who the character is and how they play. So we've got 5 levels since they did the update previously, and that just adds on to the total number of potential reports that you can use. I'm gonna let you know right off the bat that at every level, Scarlet Witch has access to attack. My immediate instinct, for whatever reasons, was to immediately jump out and get those attacks completed, so I did those. But let's take a look at some of the other skills that she has across the board. We know that at Magical Aptitude 1, much like everybody else, they have access to defense and HP inside here. For Scarlet Witch, you're going to probably want to pay attention to some of her HP because some of her skills do have, modifiers based on her total HP effect. Like she'll cast barriers and bubbles and protective abilities, basically granting herself some limited super armor, and she'll basically have that HP in effect where it's based on a total value of HP. So Scarlet Witch could be the first character, depending on your skill build, that we see where those HP ISOs could be good, right? So pay attention to that. Next up on tier 2, we've got defense pierce and critical damage. Now this is an interesting one because defense pierce, we know that it's not used in a lot of game modes outside of PvP. So if you're going to focus, if you're a PvP focused player, then you want to jump on these defense pierce ones as soon as possible, because that's going to obviously help you get those numbers up. If you're not, and you're mostly focused on PvE, then you want to go to crit damage. That's going to be your best bet, right? At level 3, we get another instance here where we have something that is more focused on PvE versus PvP, because if you're a more PvP oriented player, then you're going to be looking to do more guard damage to players in order to break them skills down. That's not to say that this isn't also useful inside some of the PvE modes, but I think that overall, in my opinion, guard damage is more something that's more valued inside PvP. While we also look at cooldown decrease, which is going to obviously affect the way your skills are on cooldown and be able to play. Now, Scarlet doesn't necessarily have extremely high cooldowns, and it's not something that you automatically have to worry about so much as her stamina recovery. But she plays somewhat in a sense the same way as Doctor Strange does, where there's a balance between cooldown and stamina recovery. So this one right here, I would suppose you would go whichever one that you want to. I'll probably end up going to cooldown decrease before guard damage. At Magical Aptitude number 4, we can see where she basically has both stamina recovery and cooldown decrease. You obviously want to invest in these as soon as possible, because this is going to help you regardless of whether you're playing PvP, PvE, whatever it is, the game mode, you're going to need these for stamina recovery, as you'll see in some of my other videos, because of Scarlet Witch's balance, her delicate balance between the two of those. Next up, finally, we have defense and accuracy rate. I think that a lot of players are going to omit the fact that Scarlet Witch has some pretty cool status effect skills. She's applying a lot of status effects, which means that she is going to need to have good status effect accuracy and good accuracy rate. So I would highly suggest investing in that accuracy rate as soon as possible, and also being committed inside of your build to make sure that you have status effect accuracy and accuracy rate high, along with other stats. Scarlet Witch's kit represents some of the better foundational layings of a character inside their potential overall, in my opinion. At every tier, you basically get to see the developers have thought out what they're putting forward in terms of the character development a little bit more closely. There's an attention to detail in this character that I think a lot of people are going to just blow over. And I really have to give credit to the developers because they have taken, with this character, they have made a true utility character. Now, she is clearly a CC focused character. She is clearly like similar to Doctor Strange. She is clearly a magic based character. But the really cool thing about this character is that she is great utility, meaning that at any point inside her builds, whether you focus on her enhanced potential, her specializations, or her skills, at any time you could be using a whole host of different skills for this character. But in this sense, she makes sense to build up. The only wasted trees that I see inside the game overall is defense. Defense is still one of those skills that I don't really hold very much value in a lot of games, because unfortunately in a lot of games, you know, defense becomes, you know, it's a thrown off because attack is king, you know. And I would say it's not very much difference in this game. Attack is king, but you know, not to say that defense can't help you, but I think there's other things that you would focus on, like critical damage decrease, guard damage decrease, in order to mitigate some of the damage effects that you're going to get. But you know, that's not to say don't invest in defense at all, but her whole potential window just it hits the right spot for me in terms of just looking at this character and being able to understand, like, they've given a lot of thought to the character. There's something in here so that way she essentially plays into both worlds, PvE and PvP. And as you take a look at some of the other videos, like the ones I have coming up for her skills and her specializations, you'll also start to notice that she also has this way to, you know, actually do stuff that's going to help you for the various game modes and builds that you want to specifically do those. So we'll take a look at those in future videos. Check those out and hit that subscribe button. Until next time, peace.